I would like to greet each one of you and thank also for the Legion and Caritas Bangladesh for the invitation. Also on behalf of Cardinal Czerny and on behalf also of Francesca Donau, who is a regional coordinator for the migrants and refugee section. It's always an honor to stay with you, with those who are working, pastorally speaking, at the grassroots, taking care of all the people abandoned, all the people oppressed, all the people who are just fleeing from their homes because of different things. We're talking about asylum seekers, refugees, displaced people. This is just because the migrants and refugee section has been erected by Pope Francis just to assist the local church and to try to inspire the local church in this important service, which is part of our evangelizing work. Now, I had the chance to meet the Holy Father just a few days ago. We had our monthly meeting with Cardinal Czerny, and I was able also to present the program for the forthcoming days. And I mentioned this meeting also to the Pope, and he made me responsible to greet you and to send his blessing. So please receive the blessing of the Holy Father and also the thanks of the Holy Father for the work that you are doing. And I think this is the most important things of all the speech, receiving these greetings and thanks directly from the Holy Father. This is from him, and now it is my turn. My turn is to convey to you few reflections which are coming from the title and the theme of the message for the World Day of Migrants and Refugees this year. You know that every year we have a message, and that the Pope Francis is always thinking to give an inspiration every year about the World Day for Migrants and Refugees. So in this 5 years of existence of the Migrants and Refugees section, we have been receiving the message by February, more or less, and then try to understand the core elements of the message and prepare also a campaign, a media campaign on the message. And I'm sure that you have been able to receive through Father Legion, through Caritas Bangladesh, some of the videos, some of the posts, some of the messages that we have been preparing, which are just focusing on few elements of the message. But in this case, I would like to share with you what is the reflection behind. The message is normally coming from a reflection that we are doing together with Pope Francis, and then is taking the lead and say, this is exactly what I want this year. And in the message that we have been receiving in 2021, there is one point which is the ideal, another point which is a challenge, and then there are 4 appeals. And at the end, there is a sharing of a purpose, a sharing of a commitment, which is coming directly from the will of the Pope Francis. So let's start with the ideal, the first point of the message. Pope Francis is sharing and say that the ideal that we have, all humanity, all men and women around the world, is to fulfill the plan of God. This is exactly the purpose of our existence. And since the real beginning, it is quite clear from Genesis on that from creation on, the ideal is to make one of many, to unite people and to make one family with one God. Just think about creation, starting from the real beginning. God made man and woman and at his like, and this likeness, this model is a Trinitarian model. So the model by which men and women have been created, it is the Trinitarian model of 3 persons, one God. It is a community. It is not an individual God, but it's a communitarian God. It is a 3 person. They are separated, they are diverse within the same nature of God. And it's only one God, not three gods, but only one. The mystery of Trinity is already telling us about the communion in diversity, which is the ideal behind the same creation of human beings. So we are called to be, like the Trinitarian model, a communion in diversity. And when actually in the same creation, man, according to the story which is told by Genesis, man is creating before, and then there is a woman created after. Also in this interpretation, there is a complementarity and a reciprocity, and there is some kind of diversity which is at the beginning, which is necessary in order to live a family, which is a communion. And then if you look at also the choice that God did at the real beginning, which is a choice of one people serving him, an alliance with a group of human beings chosen among many, is to have one people serving one God. We will be together and walking together in order to fulfill the ideal, which is to unite all peoples in the Jerusalem of heaven, in the city which has been prepared for everybody, which is the ideal, where everybody would come and would constitute the unique family celebrating forever the joy, the happiness to be with God. So the idea of one people engaging other people, being united with all humankind, serving God. This is the idea that we have. And so all the history, the human history, should be reflecting this kind of walking together with God, constituting the one family. Now the challenge, looking at the reality, unfortunately, this is not true. What we have today is not actually a common path to unity, but what we have today is a divided humanity. What we have today is a fragmented world. What we have today is a lot of pushing to divide more and more and more. I will give you some example just to let you know. First, all the data, the evidences that we have today are telling us that it is not true that we are having the same access to common good. It's not true that we have the same access to richness. It is not true that we have the same access to the resources of the world. And this is telling us the division which is within the same humanity. And this is also telling us how humankind is divided by different groups. Some, actually few, a little group having most of the resources, and the rest, which is majority, left with little resources, with the scratches. These are also the words of Pope Francis in Laudato Si, and repeated also in Fratelli Tutti. And it is to be understood as a real challenge today, as the building of a common humanity which cannot pass through, or better, should pass through a real change in the world system, because the world system is not allowing us to be a unique humankind and family. The second example is quite simple. How many walls has been built in the last years? How many fences has been built in the last years? Instead of opening this world and making people meeting and joining and being united, what is happening is actually dividing and dividing and dividing more. and higher walls and higher fences in order, and then protection, and then to unite. This is a reality, and we have to take it as a challenge, because instead of having a strong push toward uniting all peoples and going together to God, what we have today, it is that everyone is taking his path. And unfortunately, the extreme nationalism and the radical individualism, these are the two words used by Pope Francis in Fratelli Tutti, are undermining the same ideal of God. So, as I said, we have one ideal and we have one challenge, because the challenge, the reality is telling us that we are not fulfilling the plan of God. So, what is a way? How can we respond to the challenge? How can we actually return to the right path? Just thinking about the people of God in the desert, during Exodus, coming back from Egypt and going, how many times the people are just lost his way? And Moses has been recalling them, please, let's go back to the right path. How many times the prophets, talking to the kings of Israel, talking to the people of Israel, say, we lost the right path and we have to go back. Well, how can we go back to the right path? Well, this is a way that Pope Francis is highlighting 4 different ways. They are, if you want, the 4 appeals that are coming. I'm asking you to do something. Well, what is the Pope asking us to do? Is asking the Church to do something, and is asking all men and women of goodwill to do something. The first 2 appeals, the first 2 call of attentions are going directly to the Church. We have to be, Pope Francis is saying, first of all, an inclusive church. And second, we have to be a missionary church reaching out. Well, let's go to the first. The church is meant to be an inclusive church. If we want to fulfill the ideal of being a unique humanity, a one family with one God, first of all, we have, as a Catholic Church, to be witnessing this kind of unification, this kind of exercise. And unfortunately, many times is not as such. So Pope Francis is calling the attention and say, look at our communities and think about how many people are residing in the territory which is entrusted to a diocese, entrusted to a bishop conference, and say all the Catholics residing in one place are members of the communities, and not second class, but they are first class, full titled. They are full members of a community. It means that they belong to the community exactly as the locals, because in the church there is not first class or second class citizenship. Where you are, where you find yourself as a Catholic, this is your church. So even passing by, even transient, even as we call it, transit, even if you are in transit, where you are, that is your church. And the people there are your companions of travel, they are your colleagues, your community mates. And you think that the church, the community, the ecclesial community there is your community. So you are not left out. You are called to be part. Everyone, every migrant, every refugee, every asylum seeker with Catholic religion is a full Catholic member of a community where he or she is. And this is why a place for him, for her, has been prepared in the community. And they should feel that they are at home. They are not far away. They are not guests. They are family members. Allow me to quote here St. Paul. You are no longer a guest. but you are family members. And this is exactly what is happening with all the refugees, asylum seekers, displaced people just coming to us. And us as a Catholic community, recognizing the Catholic coming in transit or just to be there, they are part of our community. Including them, this inclusiveness, which is called, it means also not only making a space, but building relationship with them. It's not just a question of giving them a chair. It's not just a question of giving them a time to use a church. It is a question to make them feel that they are part of our community. You are my brother, you are my sister. This inclusiveness is also a recognition of all the skills that our displaced people, asylum seekers, refugees, migrants are just carrying with them. You are good in singing, you are good in animating, you are good in reading, you are good in liturgy, you are good in catechism. Whatever you are, you should have a place then. And we should be able to include each one of them in our community. This is the only way that we can do communion in diversity. And we are not asking the people to change their tradition. We are not asking them to change what they are. Culturally speaking, it's a richness which is coming to our community, enriching us. And every difference which is coming is recalling us our ideal to be communion in diversity. The Father is the Father, the Son is the Son, the Holy Spirit is the Holy Spirit. And they are not confused. And this is also true for our community members. They are coming from, they are coming from, they are coming from. All their cultures are just identifying them as different. But this is exactly what is needed in order to have communion in diversity. The second appeal to the church is to be a missionary church, reaching out. Yes, because many, well, this is also your experience. I've been visiting also the refugee camp in Cox's Bazar. Many of those who are coming are not Catholic, are of other religions or of no religion. But this is an occasion that we have today. The occasion that we have today, which is just to witness our faith to them. This is what evangelization is all about. Evangelization is not proselytism, Pope Francis is saying. Evangelization is actually announcing Jesus Christ with our life, making him live in us, because this is the idea. Jesus Christ is living in me, and living in me and announcing his gospel through my deeds, from what I'm doing. Just remember what Francis of Assisi was telling his friars before going to the evangelizing mission, and was saying, please go forth, evangelize everywhere, and use words only when deeds are not enough. So it means that the words are not really needed when we are able to witness the faith that we have chosen and is part of our life. And this reaching out and going to evangelize, it is actually expressing the loving mercy of God. The love of God, particularly to those who are abandoned. Pope Francis is used to see those who are living in the existential peripheries. You are working in one of the biggest existential periphery in the world. You are taking care of the abandoned, of the oppressed, of the refugees, of the displaced people, of those who have been discarded. And this is exactly what the evangelizing mission is all about. And through your charity, through your work, through your service, which is a free service, which is just in the name of God, you are actually evangelizer. You are performing the mission, reaching out, not staying, Pope Francis is staying within the temple, but going out and looking for. Just think about the merciful father of the parable. When the son has decided to leave, he's staying at the window, waiting every day. And when he saw the son coming back, the prodigal son, coming back from afar, he's not staying at the window, but he's going out and embrace and hug the son coming back. And this is exactly what we are called to do, to go out, exactly as Jesus did. Jesus did not stay in the temple of Jerusalem to preach, but he went forth. He went village by village, and he was looking to the sick, he was looking to the poor, he was looking to those who were needed in order to announce through the deeds, through the miracles, the arrival of a kingdom of God. And this is exactly what we are called to do. So the two appeals, to be an inclusive church and to be a missionary reaching out church. The other two appeals are appeals which are addressed directly to the men and women of goodwill. And Pope Francis is saying, well, not only the church is in charge of fulfilling the plan of God. Everybody is called to do. And first, what we have to do is to restore the real face of humanity, of a unique family and the you. Because this, unfortunately, this face has been ruined, has been damaged. The humanity now is fragmented. We have a lot of hatred. We have a lot of conflicts. People are not living as brothers and sisters, and we have to rebuild this brotherhood and sisterhood which has been lost. And the only way that we can do it is to recall that we are exactly part of the same. And we have to work, particularly in this moment where the pandemic situation is revealing all the failure of a system, that we have to change the system. We have to change the economic and social system in order to make it happen, in order to make him feel that really we are all brothers and sisters. It's not just a question of words. It's not just a question of international constitutions. It's not a question of political speeches. It's a question of a reality where you are really my brother and my sister. The big question is, if I really think that the person crossing the border is my brother, what should be the way of welcoming the person? Well, if my brother, I will go and help. I will assist. I will try to make it happen as regularly and safely possible. But actually, this is not what is happening today. Many times, people are just discriminated upon. They are just many times also discriminated against. They are just many times abandoned, discarded, disregarded. And this is what is telling us that we have to change the way of understanding. Of course, we have very good signs, I would say. A sign in a global compact for a safe, order, and regular migration. It is one of the signs, not all the countries sign, but more than 160 countries sign. But a pact, a global compact, is nothing if it is not put into practice. And all the principles which are stated in most of the constitutions around the world should be then enacted, not only for the constituents, but for all human beings. The second appeal is an appeal of thinking that if we are a unique family, it's also true that we are also living in a common home, which is, I would say, the core message of Laudato Si. And recalling that many of the things happening today, conflicts and migration today, are just because we are not really taking care of a common home, but we are disrupting, we are ruining, we are just wasting the common home that we have. And of course, if we are not able to take care of a common home, and we are not going to have a home in the next future, there is no place for a common family. There is no common family if there is not common home, because there is not a place to be a family. So the appeal is to be proactively working for protecting the common home, for eliminating all the processes we're just now ruining, are just disrupting the common home that we have. Now, for us, for those who are believers and they think, and they are the main religions are exactly thinking the same, that human beings are not the owners of a home, but they are just administrator. There is another responsibility. We are accountable directly to God of whatever has been entrusted to us. I would say the big religions around the world, they are agreeable that we are not the owners, but we are just administrating something which has been given to us, and we should be accountable of our administration. It's a new commitment and responsibility which is coming from this understanding. Again, two appeals for all men and women of goodwill: to restore the humanity, the common family, and to take care of a common home. And the last, as I said, is a commitment. It is quite strange because it's asking us to keep on dreaming. Oh, Pope Francis is requesting us to dream. Yes, actually, he wrote a book, Let Us Dream, which I would invite also you to read. It is available. You just check online, you will find it, Let Us Dream. And the idea of having dreams is part of our faith and is part of our being human beings. What I mean, I will explain. We are dreaming every day. We are dreaming when we are sleeping, ideals are forged. This is when ideas are built. The idea of dreaming the future, preparing for the future, having dreams. In our faith also, well, this is a little detail, no? In the dream, there is a revelation. This is exactly why Pope Francis is used to have a dreaming, a sleeping Joseph, a statue of sleeping Joseph in his desk. No, the sleeping Joseph is a Joseph receiving a revelation through dreams. So we have to dream. We have to think about the future, to be inspired by the Holy Spirit in order to do. And let us dream, because dreams are those who are giving us hope. Whenever we lose our dreams, we lose our hope. And if you think about migrants and refugees, this is exactly what they do have. They are just fleeing just because of hope. They are hoping that they can find somewhere else the place they are looking for in order to survive, or in order to fulfill the integral human development for themselves and for their families. And this is exactly the hope that we have. The hope is to perform the plan of God. And we are dreaming the future together, not alone, simply because when we dream together, we start building the reality. When last part of the message is a wonderful prayer that I leave to your attention and to your reflection. The prayer, which is ending the message of the Pope, just telling us how important it is to include in our community those who are abandoned. And the joy, which is in paradise, only for one person has been saved from waste, and from the eternal loss. And this is the idea of recovering all those who have been discarded, all those who have been set apart, on those who are left behind. I would say that I would like to thank you for the work that you're doing. It is a very important work. And in terms of the Missionary Church, in terms of the real identity and mission of a church, you are performing the mission. Please be assured of our prayer. The Migrant and Refugee section is accompanying you. And I can recall the Pope saying that from his wonderful and a very inspiring trip to Bangladesh, he has been carrying back all the claims of the people there, and is still in prayer and spiritually speaking, is there accompanying you. The Holy Father is sending again his blessing to all of you and encouraging you to keep on working and performing the good mission. Thank you.